Today, let's learn how you can beat procrastination, because I know you can. It takes discipline, but you can do this. I'm going to get right to it and get started because I don't want to delay. I want to give you all the tips and practical help that I can give you to get over procrastination in your life so that you can practice those skills and gain them, and then you can teach them to your team. It's very difficult to teach something that we don't know. Is that even really possible? Is someone really going to learn a skill from us if they know that we're not doing it ourselves? We want our teams to be able to beat procrastination in their lives, and we might have some great ideas, but if we're not doing it, we're not blazing the trail for them. We're not showing them that it matters. We're not showing them that it's possible. So today, let's learn how you can beat procrastination, because I know you can. It takes discipline, but you can do this. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about what procrastination is and why we do it. Procrastination is defined as the act of delaying or putting off tasks until the very last minute or even past their deadline. Some researchers define procrastination as a form of self-regulation failure that's characterized by irrationally delaying tasks despite negative consequences. If that's something that you can identify with, I want you to just pop in the chat and say, that's me. This is something that we do, and it is a failure of our self-regulation. This is us making illogical choices in an attempt to help us regulate our emotions. No matter how well organized or committed you are, chances are you have found yourself frittering away minutes or half hours or hours on trivial tasks, on entertainment, watching YouTube, updating your Facebook status, scrolling on Instagram, shopping online. I know I've talked to so many students, and these are things that they're struggling with. Even though we know that we should be spending our time on something else, we still choose to go and do these other things. And yes, we are choosing. It doesn't just happen. Procrastination isn't just something that happens. And I want to assure you, it's not just who you are. We were not just born a certain way and we're stuck there forever. Even though this might be a character trait of yours, even though it might be a habit that you have been feeding for years and years and years, your brain is still plastic. It can still grow, it can still change, and you can come up with different plans and solutions that are going to help you beat it. A 2007 analysis published in the Psychological Bulletin found that 80 to 95% of college students procrastinated on a regular basis, particularly when it came to completing assignments and coursework. And I'm willing to bet that it got even worse as the pressure went up. I don't know for sure. Some of us work better under pressure, but I'm going to suspect that the more emotional that they got about those assignments, the more difficult it was for them to focus and choose to do them. Why do we do this? We say to ourselves, I don't think it'll take that long. There's no rush to start. Or we might say, I just don't really feel inspired right now. I don't really feel like doing it. I'm just not motivated to do that right now. There are ways to beat procrastination. And here's a couple great tips. So first of all, I just want to start with these two tips that are just kind of general ideas that you can use in your week to help you so that you'll be less likely to procrastinate. The first is to reduce your decisions. If you have a planner, put all the important things on the planner. Don't think to yourself, oh, should I go to the gym today or should I go tomorrow? No, make a choice. I will be going to the gym on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Is today Monday? Then I'm going to the gym. This is not an option. This is what I do on Mondays. The same way, if you had a job that you had to be to on a certain day at a certain time, it's not optional. Put it on your calendar. Go ahead and book the time off so that you can do the things that are important to you. So don't leave it up to how you feel in the moment, because we all know we're probably not going to feel like it. We're going to wait, and then the next day we're going to say, well, I could go tomorrow. The second thing you can do is to start your week by planning. So plan your week, and every single day, start your day by prioritizing. Find the one or two things that really must get done. What are your must-dos? So we have all the things that are at certain times on our calendar, and then we might have a list of things that they all need to be done. Let's just pick the top 2. Let's pick the top 3 or the top 5 things that must get done today. If nothing else gets done in the unblocked time, these ones must get done. And then start with them. But don't start with them when you're supposed to be doing something else on your calendar. So if you're supposed to go to the gym at 7 in the morning, don't get up and do the topmost priority thing on your list that day, because you're just procrastinating going to the gym by doing those other important things. So make sure you know what really matters. Choose your priorities and do those things first. Now here's the big problem with procrastination. Is as humans, we have a present bias. So we bias our present condition. So the immediate reward that we get right now, if we stay in bed, if we watch a YouTube video, if we just go and get a snack, or just sit and stare out the window, the immediate reward is more important to us than our long-term goals, or than our schedule, or than our plan. So naturally, it feels to us that it's a way better idea to do those enjoyable things right now, because just naturally we feel that the present is more important. Enjoying the present is the most important thing. Well, I'm here to tell you that that is following our feelings down a path that is not going to get us anywhere. And we all know this. We can look back in our lives and we can see that that's the case. So why do we keep falling into this trap? Very simply, we like to avoid what's uncomfortable and what's difficult. So there might be a task on our plan. So let's say the gym. That's a really good one for me. I hate to exercise. It's a personal thing. Don't like it. Don't enjoy it. Need to do it. Right? These are things that need to be done. This is a top priority for me, technically, if I'm not considering my emotions. But when I think about it, it just feels like hard work. It feels, maybe I might say, but what difference is it really going to make? Or what if I can't succeed at that task? What if I fail? And for me, going and exercising is just a hard thing I don't want to do. I have an aversion to it. And as humans, we often have an aversion to anything that's uncomfortable or difficult. So right now I want to give you an exercise that's going to help you. But the thing is, instead of relying on our emotions and on our present bias, we need to be aware of our feelings, we need to be aware of our goals, and we need to think logically and clearly. Instead of allowing our emotions to drive our choices, we need to stop and recognize our emotions and why we feel the way we do, so that we can make a logical choice. So this exercise will only work for you if you are able to stop and ask yourself a few questions. This is a mindfulness exercise. You have to be mindful of your emotions. You have to be mindful of what that task feels like to you. So first of all, you have something that you don't want to do. And it's uncomfortable, or it's scary, or it's difficult, and it requires a lot of energy, or a lot of thought, or a lot of emotion. And the first thing I want you to do is right now, I want you to just take a few moments, and I want you to think of a task like that. So I'm sure we all have something in our day that we just really would rather avoid. Maybe there's something you're procrastinating right now. So I want you to think about that one thing. And I want you to feel how icky that feels. I want you to feel whatever it is you're feeling and just focus on, how does this thing make me feel? Put those feelings into a box or rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. How big is that box? Or how high is the number on your scale of 1 to 10? And now I want you to put that one aside. Now, if I just put aside my task and I go and I procrastinate and I go and I watch YouTube or I online shop or do something else, how is that going to feel? Oh, I'm going to feel relief. So I want you to just focus on that feeling. Like, imagine that you made that choice to procrastinate, to do something that you enjoy instead. How is that going to feel? And just package that into a box and imagine, is that box bigger or smaller than the first box? Is that number on a scale of 1 to 10 of pleasure so much more than the feelings of negativity from the first exercise? And now remember though, are you also going to have some nagging in the back of your mind that you still have that task? Is that going to shrink the pleasure that you feel when you're procrastinating? Now, a true seasoned procrastinator is going to have that nagging voice shoved so far down they are not even going to hear it. But if you're just learning to procrastinate, or if you are someone who is very aware of the things that are on your task list, you're going to have that nagging in the back of your mind. And how much does that reduce the size of your pleasure? So think of how small that little bit of pleasure is. So you have how badly you feel about the task, and you have how pleasurable it is to procrastinate. And now we're going to push those aside and we're going to start another box. Let's imagine you procrastinate. And then later, you still have that task to do. How does it feel then? What does that feeling feel like? Take a few seconds and just feel that. It feels heavy and oppressive. Maybe you feel like you failed. Maybe you feel like you've let someone down. How big is that box now? Is it bigger than it was at the very beginning? Or the same? It's certainly not going to be smaller. You're not going to feel better about the task after you procrastinate than you did before. Okay, let's push those 3 boxes all aside. And now this is a good one. This is where we want to be. So let's just take a couple minutes, and I want you to think and imagine, feel the feeling. If I did that thing that I so hate to do, and I completed it, and then I got to do that fun thing that I want to do now, what is that going to feel like? What's it going to feel like to know that I went to the gym every day this week? What's it going to feel like to know that I'm reaching my goals? What's it going to feel like to know that I beat procrastination this time? It might get me lots of other times, but this time I won. What is that going to feel like? How big is that box? Now tell me, how logical would it be to choose that small little box of pleasure of procrastination instead of that medium-sized box of icky feelings, whatever feelings you have about your task? Not very logical. Especially when, if you choose that task that you don't want to do, you have that little medium-sized box of discomfort, but then when you're all done, you get this huge box of happiness and accomplishment and success. And you still get to do that thing that you wanted to do in the first place. So it's completely logical to choose to do the task. So we have to not let our emotions lead, but logically look at our emotions and ask ourselves these questions. I call this the mind the gap. So my students hear this all the time. Let's mind the gap. Let's think about the gap in size or the gap in pleasure between the little bit you're going to get if you procrastinate and the big box of happiness you're going to get if you don't procrastinate. Who would choose that little box? Just because there's a medium-sized box of discomfort in the middle that we have to get past. So today, I challenge you. Over next week, I challenge you to try this every single day, at least once. So start now and plan for next week. Make a plan for next week. This is for you, not for your student, because you can't teach what you can't do. So first, do it yourself. Make a plan for next week. Maybe it's a good idea not to completely renovate your plan, but pick one or two maybe things that you want to make sure that you get done, something that you often procrastinate. And give it a whirl this week. Let me know. Comment in here. Hey, I did it for a week, and guess what? It really worked. Or, well, I tried, and I did it once, but I didn't do it every time. And that's okay. It's about growth. It's not about perfect success. It's about getting better. It's about improving. And once you realize that you can do this, you can have the confidence to move forward and to beat your own procrastination. And then when you see this starting to work for you, you can say to your student, guess what I'm learning about? I did this, and this really worked for me. Do you want to try it too? Can we try it with you and see if that helps you too? You can both learn to beat procrastination. So today, if you want to learn more about how your student can beat procrastination, and we're going to pair that with persuasive writing skills because they really come together, because very often writing is one of those tasks that students love to procrastinate. If you are interested in more information about that, you can head over to discerntolearn.com/tutoring and learn more. There's an e-guide there that you can download that's going to tell you all about how I do it and how you can too. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a lovely day. I will see you again soon.